This video is brought to you by the FARMER-KLEIN YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at PGR Sliwno. But before that, this video is brought to you by Jerry's Keeper and Daisy Moonbeam. Thank you for being farm barons. So the PGR Sliwno map can be found over the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu, and as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Now let's read a little bit on the description. PGR Sliwno is a large farm engaged in the cultivation of plants and animal husbandry. The map includes 23 fields, including 5 meadows, 11 points of sale, 6 production buildings, a sawmill, a BGA, 3 forests, 3 villages, an extensive roadway network, and in new player mode, you start with machinery. Let's go ahead and load on the map. We are going to use the mods that we typically use when we take a look at maps. That is additional field info, additional game settings, field lease, field calculator, and precision farming. Now, I will say if you load this map up in Farm Manager or start from scratch, you will also have machinery. Now, you will not have any buildings on the main farm, except for 2 manure heaps. And we'll talk about those in a little bit when we get to looking at the farm tour. But you will have machinery in all play modes. So here we are in new farmer mode. And as you can see, we start out right here in the main farm, right in front of our sleep trigger. So this is technically our farmhouse. It looks a little bit industrial for our farmhouse, but this is our farmhouse. And we do have low flying aircraft that are going to be flying over your farm every so often, so I hope you really don't mind being buzzed by the local airplane club. Let's go ahead and take a look at the map. As you can see, if we take a look at the lands area, we start out owning the main farm here, which includes this pasture area, for $970,000. We also own fields 13 and field 19. With respect to the unbuyable land, we do own the unbuyable land at the start. And in fact, the unbuyable land can be bought for $0, should you so wish. It is 93.39 acres in size and basically consists of all of the sell points and the areas around the map related to the road and railroad network. We do have a biogas plant that we can purchase for $54,408. Right down here. We do have all the standard crop types available to us in Farm Sim 22 available on the map. And if we take a look at our farmland lease screen, you will see a few interesting things here. One, the farmland ID and the field numbers are the same. So farmland ID 1 has field 1. Farmland ID 2 is associated with field 2. You see that we have some fairly large farm lands, and as such, got some rather expensive land available here on the particular map. And then if we move on down here to our field calculator screen, the field calculator screen is going to show us just fields specifically and how large those given fields are. And if we take a look at our precision farming screen, let's go ahead and overlay the generic soil map. So if you are playing this map with the precision farming mod, this map does make use of the generic soil map. And as you can see here, the way this is overlaid, we pretty much have all soil types on almost all fields. There are a few fields here and there that just have 1 or 2, or should I say 2 or 3 soil types applied. Here down in field 17 and 18, we have loam and silty clay. Whereas up here in field 8, we have a little bit of sandy loam also, but mostly loam and silty clay. And then you have fields like field 21, which include all 4 soil types. If we take a look at our crop counter, we do have the standard base game crop counter available to us here on the map. And if we look at our prices screen, you will see that we can indeed sell all of the base game crops that we could possibly grow here on PGR Sliwno. We also have sell points for all of our animal outputs and silage, hay, straw, and grass. Also, if we move down to our production, we do have the ability to sell all the base game production. Now, while most of the base game production is only going to be able to be sold at a single sell point, the cooperative, we do have the ability to sell anything that we may possibly produce, either built into the map or added as a placeable based on the base game feature set. We do have 2 sell points for lime, or 2 buy points for lime, where we can purchase bulk lime. And then we do have a stone crusher also available on the map. Taking a look at our starting equipment is all owned, none of it is leased, and it is all fairly low operating hours. We do not have any animals at the start, but we do start out with 2 cow barns, a pigsty, and a sheep barn. We do have contracts available. We do not own any production chains at the start, and we do not have collectibles listed in the statistics screen, which leads me to believe that we do not have any collectibles on the map. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting fleet. We start out with the Fendt Favorite 515C small tractor, as well as the Fendt 724 Vario, the Valtra 8750, and the John Deere 7810 tractors. We have the Topliner 4090H harvester that is paired up with the Topliner 4090H grain header, as well as the 4090H header trailer. We have the JCB 54170 Agri Pro telehandler. We have the 1986 pickup truck, and then for trailers, we have the Rudolph TDK 301 RP, as well as a pair of Welder DK115 trailers. We have the Agromaz POV5XL plow, as well as the Agromaz BTC 50H disc harrow. We have the Kuhn HR 4040 power harrow, and then the Kuhn Ventra 4030 seeder. We also have the VB 3190 round baler, the Q4M front loader, and then for that front loader, we have a universal bucket attachment. And then for our telehandler, we have the bucket and pallet fork. We have a 1,000 kilogram front weight, and then we have a pair of belts. And that is our starting equipment. So let's go ahead and kind of take a look at the main farm area. We have our farmhouse here, our 1986 pickup truck. Then quite the abundance of machine storage. We have sheds galore. We have a workshop trigger located inside of here. And I will say, everything here on the farm can be sold with the exception of one manure heap. And I gotta really figure that that is a mistake, because we can sell everything else that you can see here except for one manure heap. And I will show you which manure heap that is when we get over to it. So here we have the large pigsty, 270 pigs. We're going to be able to be held in this particular pigsty. We have our slurry output. This is cool. Kind of an interior building here. So here we have our food trough, as well as our slurry trough. Well, not slurry, but our straw trigger. Then I believe this is going to be a manure heap. Here we have the large cow barn. We have our dump point for our straw. I suspect this is where we're going to be putting our food storage, our food. Here we are, pickup point for our milk. our slurry. 490 cows in this particular building. We do have water requirement for these cows, and they are going to go under the train track out here to this large pasture. I really like seeing when maps make use of things like that, going over and under train tracks, roads, and such. Especially when we have animal areas that continue underneath bridges and roads and such. Over here we have another cow barn. This cow barn is going to hold 100 cattle. And this is the manure heap that for whatever reason we cannot sell. In fact, in Farm Manager or Start from Scratch, this is the only thing other than machinery that is here at the main farm. So it is embedded in the map. If you try to sell this, you will not get the option to sell it, but it will highlight. I gotta think that is possibly a mix-up in the XML, and that is why we can't get rid of it, because we can literally sell everything else on the farm here. So we have our food trough and our straw trigger. We have our slurry. More machine storage all over the place. We have a fuel pump. Then we have one more animal area. This is for our sheep. So 100 sheep in this particular area. We have our food trough. And I am thinking that our wool is going to spawn somewhere inside of here. I have looked, and I do not see anywhere that is particularly marked to indicate where wool would spawn. So this will ultimately impact our score with respect to trigger and player interactive areas being clearly marked. But that is all of the animal areas. Let's go ahead and take a look at the animal screen. We'll see if they have any custom requirements. Those cows look good. The pigs look good. Cows look good there, and our sheep look pretty standard. Now, before we continue on, I do want to check the build mode and show you that we do have the ability to put down our custom buildings that are here that we can sell. So they are included to a place. We also have our custom manure heaps. Here we have our fuel station, our vehicle workshop, and then our custom farmhouse. Now, as far as production goes, we do not have anything here customized, but we do have the ability to put down our custom animal pens. So here is that massive cow barn that holds, what, 490 cattle, including a massive pasture area. I mean, you kind of look way off in the distance there. In that other field, you can see the fence line. We have our other cow barn, 100 cows. We also have the custom pigsty and the custom sheep area that we can put down. Under decoration, we do have the concrete walls and the custom gates that we can put in. Lighting, we have then a concrete divider that we can place. And then under landscaping, we have our various paint textures. We have our animal mud, asphalt, concrete, dirt, forest ground, grass, dry grass, gravel, and then our 2 rocks. That, guys, is pretty much the farm. For the rest of the buildings here on the map are for grain storage or for machinery storage. So let's go ahead and get set up for the fly around. We'll do a fly around the map and then we'll come back to the shop, get in our Mahindra, and drive around to the various points of interest. As we get a little bit of altitude, I do want to just kind of look down on the main farm area again and once again iterate that we can indeed sell all of the buildings that we see here at the main farm. We can get rid of the gates. We can get rid of the concrete fence or wall. The only thing that we cannot physically sell, for whatever reason, is the manure heap that is located right here. And possibly the map will come out with an update to even correct that little problem. But we can sell the animal areas. We can put down the animal areas in another part of the map, or back here on this area. It is pretty interesting that we can indeed sell all of these custom buildings, which I really do like to see. Let's make our way down to the biogas plant. Overall, the map is fairly flat. I wouldn't say it's flat as a board, but it is fairly flat. There's not a lot of hills or undulations going on with respect to the land. So you should be pretty good with kind of modestly undersizing your tractors and your power equipment with respect to your implements. So we have our BGA down here with 2 3-sided bunkers. The shop is right there beside the biogas plant. We're going to be coming back to that. We do have some poles here running across the field. I did check, and these poles do not have collisions. You'll see that we can fly right through those. So we don't have to worry about hired help or your own driving, having to try to avoid those. Here we have the carpentry as well as sawmill productions. And speaking of productions, this map happens to have 8 productions available. Now, I know the description says 6 production buildings, but for whatever reason, they never include the sawmill and the BGA in that count. So, far as production goes, we have the BGA, the sawmill, we have a spinnery, grain mill, bakery, a dairy, the carpentry, and a sugar mill. Now, all of those production areas are custom, so we are talking about customized production as opposed to base game placeables. Here we have a grain sell point. We have our flour mill located below. I think with respect to the flour mill, that's probably the only production area that is using a base game building. Even these large power towers do not have collisions on them, so you don't have to worry about hired help through field 20. Now, right across the railroad tracks here at the main farm, we do have the ability to rent the train, and this is where our belts are located. But take a look at this. I mean, that is the cow pasture associated with that big cow barn. There we have our cow down there having himself a blast. But here we have the train station, and this is where we can load the train. The fact that we have the belts down here implies that we're going to have to load the train with use of the belts. As we are traversing up to the northwest corner of the map, just wanted to kind of rotate around and take a look across the map. In addition to the plane that buzzes the farm, we do have a few hot air balloons that are aflight. So up here we have another bulk lime buy point, as well as a sell point. I am wondering if this might happen to be spinnery, just kind of off the guess here. But this is the sugar mill sell point, as opposed to the sugar mill processing facility. No, this is the sugar mill processing facility. So let's go back here. All right, there's the interactive icon right there. Okay. As we cross the northern part of the map, let's go ahead and just kind of take a look across the entire map. You can really see how the fields are fairly level at this point. Over here in the northeast corner of the map, we have some more sell points, some more production going on. Over here we have our dairy. We have a train transfer silo located right here. So we have our dump point for our trailers. We have our fill point for our train. We have a bulk lime buy point. We have our stone crusher. And then here we have an area to pull product out of the mill. Now this area here is the cooperative sell point. So we've got an area to sell our palletized products, as well as an area to sell our grain products down here at the co-op. We have our animal dealer and bale sell point. Coming around the mountain here, we have some more production. This will be our bakery. We have a biomass heating plant located right here, just north of the main farm. And then we have another production area. I believe it's a production area. Sorry, this is simply a sell point in the garden center. Let's go ahead and make our way back down to the vehicle shop, where we can get our Mahindra and do the final bit of the map tour. Down here at the shop, we do have our shop trigger located right here. This is where we'll be able to repair, repaint, and customize our vehicles. And then we have our shop buy point. If you are one of those players that wants to use the shop icon to acquire your vehicles, then this is where you're going to come. And we can now see where the vehicles spawn at. We've got a decent area here for vehicles to spawn in at. You might have a little bit of trouble spawning really, really large things in here, especially possibly headers, in order to be able to then get the harvester in behind it in order to get the header. But overall, we've got a pretty decent sized entry here and exit to the shop. And a pretty decent sized area for things to spawn in at. Let's go ahead and give this thing a little bit of a drive. First up, let's swing down here to the biogas plant. So we have our scale. Coming around, we have our basically our Elm Creek BGA. We have 2 ramps going into our dueling digesters. We have our interactive icon. We have a pair of 3-sided silage bunkers. Lots of silage that's going to be able to be made down here. Lots of area for you to put down additional silage bunkers and even further expand the production capabilities. We have our pickup point for our digestate, and then our dump point for our slurry right there. Over here we have production. We have our spinnery, so we have our dump station for our cotton and wool. We have our fabric spawn point. Got a colorful bus stop there. Let's make our way up past the main farm. Leaf Field 23 is probably the smallest field on the map. It's located right here to our right. Here we have the garden center sell point. I want to see what this icon is. So wood sell point here also. The garden center looks like it's set to sell wood and possibly also accept wood chips. While we're driving around here, let's kind of summarize some of our point scoring. We've got a full point with respect to having 8 unique built-in production areas here on the map. We're going to give the map a full point with respect to having the ability to sell all the base game crops, products that we can produce, and animal outputs. We are going to give the map a full point with respect to the farms being customizable. Now, I do know that, I mentioned that you could not sell one of the manure heaps, but I'm going to give the map a little bit of leniency there. I think that ultimately it's not that big of a deal. It's a fairly large wastable area, and the manure heap is fairly small. So overall, there's minimal impact with not being able to sell that, and I think really it was probably an oversight and something that could probably be fixed in a future update. So we have our biomass heating plant here for logs, wood chips, log cell trigger. We are going to give the map a quarter of a point, 0.25, with respect to the buildings using the new texturing technique. They are fairly old textures. They don't super deter, But like I said, when you get really close to them, they can get a little bit visually blurry compared to the newer buildings. Here we have our dump and spawn point. Find this interactive trigger again. I believe this is for the dairy or the bakery. I do like the fact that we do indeed have all of the production, for the most part, customized. We're not just using, standard Holt by the Rune buildings or Erlengrot buildings or Elm Creek buildings. And here we have our animal dealer, buy our animals, and then our bale sell point. A little bit of a busy road up here in the northeast corner of the map. I'm glad our farm isn't the only thing that the airport is constantly buzzing. And here we have our dump station for some more production. Oh, sorry, no, this is the cooperative sell point, not production. Cooperative sell point. Then we have our dairy. We have our dump point for our milk around front. And then our pallet spawn point around back. There you go. Then across the street we have a train silo going on here. So we have our rent train trigger over there by the door. We have our train fill and dump point over there to the left by the tracks. We have our dump station here to put product into the silo. I want to see, is this a lime silo or is this a... So we have viable lime. We have our stone crusher. And then we have our fill point for our train transfer silo. Located right here. Let's make our way across the map to the far northwest. And we'll see what we've got going on over there. We'll do a little in-cab driving. First person driving, if you will. Quite the busy road. And this is going to allow us to go all the way across. It looks like this map has possibly 2 trains. There's a train here that is making its way across the north to the west corner of the map. And we just had a train that went across the northeast corner. so that train has already exited the map there in the northwest. Now we have a train coming in across the southern part of the map. We can see it coming across the PDA at the south right there. And here we have our lime, another lime buy point. And then this was our sugar mill. So we have our pallet spawn point and our dump station. There's our pallet spawn point. Then we have our interactive trigger. And we'll make our way down the western edge of the map. Hopefully we can do that. Overall, it looks like the fields should be kind of easily merged together, where we don't have this preformed off-road texture. We're not going to be able to landscape or plow this up. But if you wanted to expand the fields ever more, then you could do that. So we definitely have two trains. You can see both trains now progressing across the map. Be interested to see which direction this train that's going by field 22 is going to take. See the train now is turned and is going east. So we'll probably see this other train then turn left and go west. We're coming down here to field 19. As I said, that's one of the two fields that we own at the start. So there's your field 19. I'll get it right over here to the right. Conveniently close to a grain sell point. There we go, we have our dump station. So overall, I would say I'm going to give the map a 3/4 of a point with respect to the player and interactive areas being clearly marked. There's a few areas kind of around the main farm where I feel that the interactive areas are a little unclear. But out and about, the sell points, they seem to be fairly well documented. So here we have our grain mill. So we have our dump station and our pallet spawn point for our flour. This is from Haute-Belleroon, down by the river. It's kind of the only production area that is from Farm Sim 22 base map. So overall, we're going to give the map a score of 4 out of 5. I think it scores very well, and with respect to where it lost the most points, it lost the most points with the building textures, being the older building textures from Farm Sim 17 and before. How much that is ultimately going to affect your enjoyment or potential enjoyment of the map is up to you to decide. So down here we have our carpentry. We have our pallet spawn point for our furniture, interactive trigger, sell wood trigger, our dump trigger for our wood. And then we have our carpentry area here, our sawmill, for our plank production. So we have our wood chips, we have our plank pallets. We have our log sell point, our log sell trigger, located right there. And then we have our interactive icon over there by the plank pallets. You can see it through the building. So guys, that is going to do it for PGR Sliwno. Let me know what your all's thoughts are down in the comments below. And until next time, we got both trains now running across the middle of the map. Happy farming!